Alright, so today we're going to be talking about cellular respiration, and we're going to see how that has anything to do with photosynthesis. So let's start our notes off with the question at the top. What page are we on? 9. Are we on 9 or 10? I'm giving you notes. What page are we on? 10. This is on the right side. We should be looking at page 10, which will be on the right side of your notes. Page 9 on the left side does not have anything yet because everything we get from page 10 will help you develop what will be on page 9. So in the very, very, very top margin, like where I'm writing, let's go ahead and start off with the question. And our question is, what is released during photosynthesis? All right, so what is released during photosynthesis? Carbon dioxide, oxygen, what's the chemical symbol for oxygen? O2. And sugar, you said, right? What's the chemical formula? And you said, Christopher said it over there, also known as glucose. And what's the chemical formula for glucose? Don't look at me, look at your notes. You have it. And you don't need to look up here for the answer. Your answers are in your notes. Raise your hand. What is the chemical formula for glucose? Raise your hand. I need you. No, I need the answer when your hand is raised. Anaya. C6H12O6. The letters need to be capitalized, and the numbers need to be below the letters as I wrote it, or it's not the same thing. Any questions? All right. Then we're going to start our notes off. The top of our notes is called, what's the top of this note called? What did you write on your table of contents? Cellular respiration. And for us to get started, we're going to start off by watching a little video by Tim and Moby to talk about cellular respiration to help assist us with the flow of our notes.
Do you mind? I'm trying to concentrate on my breathing here. Dear Tim and Moby, is respiration the same thing as breathing? From Chad. I'm practicing deep breathing, but breathing and respiration are two different things. Breathing is part of the respiratory system, a group of organs that deliver oxygen from the air we breathe to cells throughout the body. Respiration, or cellular respiration to be exact, is what living cells do with that precious oxygen. Right, we all need oxygen to survive. But did you ever stop to wonder why? Yeah, that's what I thought. We use oxygen to process glucose, a simple sugar that provides all the energy cells need to function. All day long, your digestive system is busy breaking down food and turning it into glucose to power your cells. Glucose, along with oxygen from your lungs, is delivered to your cells through your bloodstream. Inside tiny cellular structures called mitochondria, these substances undergo a chemical reaction called respiration. When the reaction is complete, three things are left over: an energy-packed molecule called ATP, water, and the waste gas, carbon dioxide. Your cells expel the carbon dioxide into your blood, which carries it to your lungs. When you breathe out, you're exhaling this carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a harmful waste gas that your body needs to get rid of. If too much carbon dioxide builds up in your blood, you die. Right, the ATP. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate, and cells use it to do everything that requires work. The energy in ATP lets cells synthesize complex organic molecules like DNA, RNA, and proteins. It powers the muscle contractions that let us move around, and lots more. That's true. Cellular respiration isn't just for humans. You find it happening inside the cells of all living animals, and even plants. Another good point. Because it uses oxygen, cellular respiration is also called aerobic respiration. But what happens when there's no oxygen handy? Like when you're exercising really hard and your lungs can't supply your muscle cells with all the oxygen they need? In that case, the cells go with a backup plan called fermentation, where glucose is processed with carbon dioxide instead of oxygen. It doesn't make as much energy as aerobic respiration, but it works for a short time. This kind of respiration, in which something other than oxygen is used to release the energy from glucose, is called anaerobic respiration. Some organisms, like yeasts, use only anaerobic respiration for energy. Hey, have you been listening? Moby? Hey, Moby.
All right, so is respiration the same as breathing? No. Who remembers what respiration is? What's respiration? You said something about the cells that make oxygen something. Who can remember something else about respiration? What is respiration? Did you watch the video? Okay, so what's respiration? Let's start off by writing the definition. We're writing a definition, so therefore, what are we going to do with this definition? All right, so respiration is the process by which cells obtain, what's another word for obtain? Get. Not oxygen. Yep, not carbon. Energy. And what gives it energy? What comes from that food that gives it energy? Sugar, which is called glucose. So it's the process by which cells obtain energy from glucose by breaking down food molecules, yep. and releasing not carbon dioxide, not oxygen. When you start to break down food, it gives you lots of what? Energy, releasing stored energy. And over here, I'm just going to draw a little apple to remind me that this is taking in food for energy. It's the breaking down of food for energy. Because an apple would be considered a what? Which is a type of what? A fruit is a type of what? Is it an animal? What is it? It's a plant. And what do plants go through the process of what? Photosynthesis. And during the process of photosynthesis, plants release what? They do not. Carbon dioxide, no. Oxygen and sugar. So from that plant, we get, what does this say? During cellular respiration, we get glucose for energy. So, let's then write down the respiration equation. Now think about you. Think about yourself. To get energy, you have to take in glucose, food. And from those foods, you get glucose. So to get energy, you do have to take in food. You also have to breathe, which then you take in oxygen. So to start off the equation, because respiration is like breathing, because it is taking in things for energy. So it's similar to breathing because we do have to take in oxygen, but we're also taking in food. So, just like we broke down photosynthesis equation from words, so far, what are we taking in for respiration? O2, we're definitely taking in O2, which is oxygen. And we are taking in glucose, which is, what's the formula again? Huh? Good. What? And breathe and take in those things, because we eat, and that's how we get our glucose. And we have to breathe, and that's how we get our oxygen. Where does this oxygen come from? Huh? It comes from plants. From plants. This comes from plants. Because plants release oxygen into the air. Where does the glucose come from? From plants. From plants we eat. So I'm going to put plant and food we eat. Everyone breathe out. What do we release? We release carbon dioxide. What is the chemical formula for carbon dioxide? CO2. I'm not going to write it here because I don't have room, but you can write it underneath. Actually, I can write it underneath here. Everyone put your hand in front of your face, like cup it. And I want you to take a deep breath out like this. Now feel your hand. Is it kind of moist? What else do we release? We release heat, and that heat is what? What is heat? What's heat? Is a type of what? Energy. And because it's moist, what are we releasing? Water. So we release carbon dioxide, water, which is, what's the chemical formula for water? H2O. And Christopher told us that there's some type of heat, so we're releasing energy. And I'm going to let you know that this energy is called ATP. And ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. It's a type of energy that we release. You don't need to know that, but it's there. I'm also going to say this, that this equation is not balanced, and you'll learn about balancing equations in 8th grade, but you have the gist of what we take in and what we let out. Now, let's look at something here. Do you notice anything about this equation? Think about what we've already done in prior class. And then look at this equation. Did you notice anything about this equation compared to another equation that we wrote? Yeah, but this is not equal to the other equation, but it may have some similarities. Look at the other equation that we wrote for what? What other equations? We have plus signs, we have an arrow. What does that arrow mean? It's giving it away, it released it. What do you notice about this equation, which is the equation? Listen. What do you notice about this equation, which is the equation for what? Respiration. And what other equation did we write in our notes? Not today. Photosynthesis. What do you notice about the similarities between the two equations? It does include the same thing, but doesn't include it in the same order. So what is happening? Look at the two equations. Be quiet for a second. Take 20 seconds to look at the two equations and see how they relate. Look at both equations and see how they relate. Hold on, 20 seconds. All right, who sees a relationship between the two equations? What about it? You're not giving me a list, you're just naming things. Nope, you're just naming things. On the other one being equation for, okay. Good. So, where did this oxygen and glucose come from? From what process? Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis released oxygen and glucose, correct? What picked it up? What equation? Respiration picked it up. So it used it as what it needed. What did respiration release? Carbon dioxide, water, and energy. What uses that? Photosynthesis picks that up, and then photosynthesis releases and glucose. It is a cycle. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Photosynthesis trash is what? Good. So what is photosynthesis trash? Oxygen and glucose, which is the treasure for cellular respiration. What's the respiration's trash? Which is the photosynthesis treasure. So, notice anything about the equation? It's the opposite of photosynthesis. We're almost done. All right. So we're going to talk about the stages of cellular respiration. Okay, are you ready? Stage one. What does the cell need during cellular respiration? It needs what to make that energy though? Sugar or glucose. So it's in the cytoplasm. What's the cytoplasm? What is the cytoplasm? What's the cytoplasm? It's not the cell, but look in your notes. What's the cytoplasm? It's the liquid inside the cell. So in that liquid inside the cell, glucose is broken down. So when you eat, your cells get to working. In that cytoplasm, it's going to start breaking down the glucose from the things that you eat. Oxygen not involved in small amounts of energy release. Not enough yet. And why do you think it's not enough energy released yet? Because what's not involved? What's not, oxygen's not involved yet. We don't have our full component, our full equation. Where the majority amount of energy is, where do you think that the majority of the amount of energy is going to take place? In what part of the cell? Nope, that's not the cell. This is not the plant cell we're talking about. Not just the plant cell. But look in your notes. What organelle has to do with energy? Organelle are the parts of the cell, young people. Look at your notes where you have organelles listed. You wrote them down. Which organelle, look in your notes, or don't say anything yet, just look, has to do with energy. It is energizing or powering the cell. Mitochondria. So in stage 2, this takes place in the mighty mitochondria. Because it takes place in the mitochondria, you think it's going to have a lot to do with what? What is the mitochondria good for? Energy. Food molecules, just so food is broken down even more and requires, you need what to help you build more energy? Oxygen. This requires oxygen. And releases, nope, a lot of, and a lot should be 2 words, a lot of energy. This is all happening in your body right now if you ate breakfast. What else do you think is released during this? What else do we release in this process? We release energy, but we also release carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide and what else do we release? Look at your equation for respiration. Carbon dioxide and water. We already released the energy, I already said that. Also released. This is happening right now as we speak. This is why you're able to be up and writing. For most animals, this happens when you what? How do we release carbon dioxide? This happens when we do what? When we exhale. And you did it. When you exhaled, you felt that air come out. That's carbon dioxide. Your hand was moist. That was water. And then we just have one last thing to write. Now, how many of you exercise or play a sport? Okay. And in the midst of playing sports, let's say running track, because that is what's in season right now. In running track, you often lose a lot of what? When you're running, you're breathing very hard because you're losing your breath. Or why is it that you're really breathing hard? What is your lungs trying to do? Get more oxygen because your body has a lack of oxygen. This process where your body has a lack of oxygen, this is called fermentation. And if you have to add on your other page, then do so. I'm about to give you a definition, so what do we need to do? We need to definitely highlight it. So, let's say you're running and you're breathing really heavy and really hard. Do you run out of energy because you have a lack of oxygen? No, you're still able to run. And the reason why you're still able to act and do things and your body's still able to do what it is because of fermentation. Fermentation provides cells with energy without using oxygen. So in your body said, oh, there's no oxygen. A process called fermentation kicks in and said, that's okay. We still have it under control. We can take care of you for the time being until your body gets more oxygen. So your body has a backup plan for you so you don't pass out. Now, when fermentation runs out, because now you just have a total loss of oxygen, then you will pass out and you could possibly die. So you do want to make sure you are stretching, you are breathing. That's why they tell you when you're exercising, breathe into your nose and out to your mouth, because when you do that, you open up your lungs even more to get more oxygen to provide you with enough oxygen that's needed for the exercise. Now, sometimes you use too much of it and you have to go into fermentation because you are really exerting a lot of energy and you're really acting. So this is a good process. Any questions? Okay. And this completes the portion of the notes, so I'm going to explain what your assignment is. You should have this sheet in front of you, and this sheet will become page 9, which is on the left side, because it's something that you are going to create based on what you learned from your notes. Very good. When you do not finish this homework, let's go through the instructions and the steps for this, so please look at this. You can glue it in after you finish doing it. All right, so in the top left side of the below box, you're going to glue the chloroplast. Glue the chloroplast, and directly across from the chloroplast, in the top right side, you're going to glue the mitochondria. At the bottom, you see the chloroplast and the mitochondria. You want to see that, right? No. So you're going to be cutting these things out, and you're going to glue them following directions. And then tells you that you're going to be coloring your chloroplast a certain color and coloring your mitochondria. Then you're going to move on to step 2 and follow those instructions. I'm not going to read them all because you can read and follow instructions. At number 3, this is where I want to help you and look at these things here. Down where it says draw a curved arrow, I've given you an example of a curved arrow and label it. What do I mean by drawing a curved arrow? Sorry. When you're drawing a curved arrow and labeling it, just like I've done here, you can label it here. So whatever it is, it says you're going to be drawing a curved arrow and a curved arrow and label it showing the above. So let's say if this is saying that oxygen is coming out from whatever's here and going to whatever's here, then you will label this oxygen plus whatever oxygen. Does that make sense? Yeah. And drawing a curved arrow. Then you're going to go on to step 4, go on to step 5. After that's all done, then you're going to answer step 6, and then you're going to glue it into your notebook. Any questions about what it is that you are doing? No? Yes, this is independent. All right? So go ahead and get working.